Start streaming. Need this at all. Yes, I want to fit. Right. Okay. This looks good. This won't be needed. About SQLite. SQLite is very wide. I don't think I can change that. Can I? Session, help. Right, I should probably test if chat is working. Test. It is working. A little bit odd. Well, this is what it is, I guess. Doesn't really matter. As long as it's legible. I think that's all that matters. Okay, stream looks good. Manager. Stream manager on Twitch, I mean. Yeah, that looks good as well. What else? That's it. Should probably create a new one. Let's just save this in my Eclipse workspace, Bark, other. Override this. Close it. Card changes. Close as well. Right. What else do I need to set up? I wish I could make this a little bit more, well, not as bright. So a little bit darker. Yeah, it doesn't look like it has that sort of functionality. Session script. This. Copy. Yeah, okay, I have no idea what kind of plugins these are. Hopefully that doesn't really matter all that much. Window. Out. Some thread. Home, user ID. Oh, theme. That would be interesting to change theme. Current command line arguments. Expand this. Looks like it's doesn't really have anything else. Look for J properties. World home directory. User directory. Let's look at this settings file. I think that could be useful. I just open a file here. It's not a directory. Squirrel settings. Oh, that's has a lot of files. Drivers. Edit where calls. BT properties. Props properties. Maybe here I can find something to the theme. Theme. Don't see anything. kind of tempted to just open everything. Plugins. Refs. It doesn't seem like there's anything related to themes. Is this XML file? Okay, it looked like it. Nothing useful so far. Imagine this has to have something. I wonder how you change. Okay, let's see what version of Squirrel I'm running to begin with. Because it's not that old, 4.3. Well, I'm judging by the copyright string. 2021, it just ended, so can't be that bad. Yeah. Let's take a look. Right. Plugins. Maybe there is a plugin for themes. V2 plugin. Let's see. Theme? See anything about themes? Version 4.30, so this is the latest version. Oh, that's good, I guess. Means I'm not I'm not using outdated software. Right. But still, I don't see an answer. How do I actually change theme? Changing themes on SQL. SourceForge. Not sure about that. ADSQL. Client help. See anything about themes? Here, SQL can be changed by passing various arguments to it. Use default metal theme. Right. There specifies for user settings. Global preferences. I don't think this will have general appearance. Don't see any choice for colors or themes. LNDF. Where do I actually get this? The description puts here tabs for the core product. Blah blah blah. Actually say how to actually access this menu or this window. Is a little bit annoying. If I can find it. Session. No session per se. Properties. global person. I guess that's what I was looking at. Fonts. F. Look and feel. Ooh. That's what I was looking for. I can play with this. Okay, plus. Also note, some look and feel may cause performance or even functional problems. If you think you are seeing such problems, switch to metal look and feel. Okay. Okay, this changed a little bit. Preference. Look and feel. Oh, on F. Okay. Now I just need to find a dark theme. J goodies. Tiny look and feel. And don't really see any dark. A theme names with dark in it. Let's see. And Luna Fast. Seems nice. Seems very similar to the default one. Okay. Look and feel. Title and window bar. Okay. Maybe metal can have sky blue, steel. Brown sugar. Ooh, I like this. So this is at least not as as big of a flashbang. So I guess this could be a good choice. But I would like the rest of it to be the same. Charcoal. Ooh. Okay, now this is more like it. Only accents are white. Yeah, this is good. And this, I think this is done. Oh. That was not what I meant to do. Oh. What else can I prepare for the stream? I think I reduced the number of flashbangs as much as I could. I should probably make a plan for the stream. I guess data would be the basis. We need a set of data to work on. Like, I could come up with the data myself, but since no one's here, might as well go and see if I can find some data. Right. Data sample. Put data in math. Data set definition types, examples, public data sets. Data set versus data set. Correct to write is with 2 words. Oh, so this is about grammatics. Examples of data sets: home and work schedule, student grades, and exam. Oh yeah, that's very common. Actions on websites, search terms in Google, bank statements, sports match results, athlete statistics. That could be interesting. I don't really have any. Well, I guess I could come up with some. Performance reviews. KPIs. I have no idea what KPI is. I think I have time. Can I change the home page? Customize Chrome. Let's do this. Earth. I love this. So this could be my homepage. Ah, much nicer. I'm a big fan of space. Actually, I haven't checked the level 1 forums in a while. This could be hours ago something was posted. The server down, I can't open online map. So server apparently is dead. No one no one even knows if it's online or not. Okay, I don't see any new threads. I don't see any announcements in the official thread. I guess we just don't know. Right, KPI. What is KPI? I hate that it flashes to white. That's the image library. Sounds cool. Oh, this is cool. Wait, this is the repeating pattern? This is taken over multiple days. So this is so this is how Milky Way looks like apparently. If you just look at it from one angle, I assume. It seems like it was taken from Earth, not from space. Because I don't imagine it being like a snake like this. It doesn't feel right. Somehow I think that Milky Way is kind of straight. It's a flat galaxy. Doesn't have random waves up and down. That doesn't really seem to make sense. Maybe it is, but doesn't seem likely. Oh, I love it. Detail. What kind of planet is this? Wish I could click on it. Well, I'm sure there is planetarium websites. I'll do the same thing. I wonder what's the resolution of this image. These are lighting artifacts. Look kind of odd. Looks like it's not a photograph. It looks like it's an art piece. Someone draw it like this. Ooh. Maybe it's because it has multiple wavelength photos overlaid on top of each other. Yeah, that's probably it. Right. So imagine this is one night. This is another night. Wait, does that make sense? So this piece in the middle should be during the daytime. Okay, I have no idea. How they actually piece this image together. Google Sky. It's kind of dated, like this website. Sky Moon. Let's control scroll to zoom. Okay. Oh, I can't. I have to hold control. This thing. This somehow doesn't look right. Let's see how long it's been. 20 minutes. Well, I guess if no one shows up in 10-15 minutes, I'll just end the stream. Let's see. Just can I look around? Elevation. Hollow? What? What does it mean? Back. Can search for what? Apollo? How's it spelled? Is it one up? L? Double L. Okay, I saw a link to Mars as well. Oh, switches back to visible. Nice. I see there's a viewer, allegedly. Hello there. I'm waiting for, well, I'm killing time waiting for people to show up. Because there were a couple of people asking me to do this stream, introducing databases, and I kind of want them to be here when I start. I don't really want to join, for them to join in the middle. Or if you're really interested in databases, I can do my presentation with you. And then they could just watch the recording afterwards. But if you're really not interested, then yeah, it's not worth doing. Because if you won't be asking any questions and you're not interested in, like, if you know enough about databases, you know what indexes are, what foreign keys are, what normalization is, yeah. Now I just found this random website when changing my background of my, like, I don't like that this goes to white, because everything is every window I use, every application I use, I carefully set it up, like my development. What is this? File changed. Ignore file changed. Updated. Something currently has changed. Okay. So I have all the environments set up in a way where it's either gray or black, so it doesn't have any harsh colors. Because viewers usually say that they get flash banged when I open a window and it's all white all of a sudden. So I'm trying to avoid that. But Chrome doesn't, well, even though it lets me set a background image for default, well, for my home page, or starting page, I'm not sure how to call it. It doesn't really show it immediately. It goes into white and then slowly it displays an image. I don't really like it. Sure if that can be changed. Current theme. Back. Maybe this will fix it. Yeah, it goes black. So the background's black. Okay. So that was a long rant for nothing. At least it's solved now. No more flashbangs. And that's the best. Well, I use what's its name? Dark Reader. So all the web pages are dark as well. Like, for example, yeah, Python documentation page. Right. Well, if you have nothing to say, I'm not sure. Yes, what else can I do when I wait? While I'm waiting. Oh yeah, I can do some editing on the code. I saw a thing that I should be doing myself. Oh, right. And I'm passing along here. Saw a cool... I don't even remember what it's called. I call it exploding, they call it unpackaging, I think. Packaging lists. So instead of doing this, where I take values from a list, I can do this, where I have bot. Since first variable in that list is a bot, and then the next variable is... Next variable. Oh, it's a method, so it's an object. So it's a callback. That method. And its type is object. Really, I can't define types. Sucks. The complaint here. Oh, it should be this, first of all. Because this is actually a list menu variables. Comes from menu context. Well, this is part of my framework-ish kind of thing that I built for myself. Oh, this sucks. Well, I guess it doesn't really suck. It's can't define types. So this would mean that this list automatically gets unpackaged, and first element gets assigned to this variable, and the second element is assigned to this variable. So I can just use them. That, and there are no... Well, it's nice in a way that you don't have to work with the list, you don't have to use those janky indexes, but just because you're not writing them out, it doesn't change the fact that you're still using them. Like it's just not visible that you're using them. Then you need to understand what's happening here. You're still relying that the first element in the array will, in that list you're using, will be what you expect for this variable, and the second element will be, well, I guess you get the point. It's kind of pointless, but it is a nice way to hide that you're actually doing that kind of stuff, which I guess is recommended. Right. So I guess this should be working. Guess I can check if it works. This. Right. So how long it's been? Half an hour. No one's here. I guess I don't see the point in continuing. Really fancy talking to myself. User context. Guess I can just see if this works. Right, where's bot, killbot, name, enter, name is set, everything works, so I guess that's fine. I guess I can do some coding instead. It's not supposed to be a coding stream. I guess if people will be looking at the recording and trying to see if I actually explained anything, I guess they can, well, if they get to see this, I guess I can quickly go through the thing I had prepared. So this is test database. Suddenly it changes colors when I go to look at the database itself. Whatever. Can't have everything, I guess. Right. So Yeah, this is my test database, which is just a bookmarks database. Well, it comes from where's the program? It comes from Bark application. Yeah. So this is the application I created to play around with databases. I think it was part of the tutorial I followed or something. Yeah, so this is where see. Does this actually query the database? Okay, this is the select. Order by direction. Okay, this is fine. Column question mark. Then execute. Selected columns. Name. Yeah, literal filter values. Yeah, this is not good. Don't want to have filter values join. String join. So this is the string join method which just joins another string. It's called is inserted in between each given string. Yeah. Okay, I need any number of strings. Oh, so you can just give it a... Yeah, so this is a list of strings. Yeah, so you get an entry for each column and criteria keys. Not sure this is yeah. So basically what I'm worried about is a SQL injection, which is something I wanted to talk about. It's something you need to be mindful of. So well, it is bad practice to just create a string. Well, in this case it works because you don't really expose this database to user input. Well, you're the only one who would be using this in this example. So in this example it works, but it's still a bad practice to insert values that you want. Well, let's see. Execute, self-execute. So what's the execute method? Connect cursor, statement, and values. Okay, well, I guess if you criteria values. Okay, well, maybe it's not that bad. You don't actually insert the values. Here, yeah, I guess this is fine. Actually, no. Tuple, create a tuple. Why do you want it to be at, well, I guess values. Yeah, this is key value pairs. And how do you actually execute statement? So it has to be a tuple. Why does it have to be a tuple? It was it's if no argument is given, the constructor returns an empty tuple. So it creates a tuple, and here passes it along. Execute. Execute actually expect a tuple. Actually have a reference here. Yeah, let's look at the execute statement in the documentation here. Right. And execute. It's not in the table of contents, so that doesn't give me all that confidence. Wait, maybe it was referenced somewhere here. Action. Execute, okay. This is actually referenced. Line. SQL and parameters. It looks like it's a list, not a tuple. Maybe parameterize. Yeah, placeholders instead of SQL literals. Find the placeholders, question marks, and named placeholders, name style. Here's an example of both styles. Right. I guess it is a tuple or a dictionary named values. So either you have to use this type of syntax or question marks. Yes, with both that's fine. Question marks maybe is easier, it's more common. I guess that's the benefit. Why does it have to be a tuple though? What's the benefit of it being a tuple? Maybe because it's immutable? Is it? Well, no one seems to be coming, so yeah, I've been streaming for 40 minutes and no one's here, so I guess I'll just stop. So I'll do it next time. One. Right. Yeah, I don't really feel like going through the stuff I have prepared, so this is an application you would use to design tables. So this is how would you design database outside of actual, like, for visualization sake. So if you're creating documentation or want to share your idea of what the database should look like, this would be one of the tools to use. It's very nice, like it just lets you create tables and references. And what is this? Attribute compound. Where is it even used? Oh, I guess there is a use for this somewhere. Don't even know, but pretty much all databases can be represented in tables and references. So this is what it looks like. Right. What else? Squirrel. Yeah, Squirrel SQL is just a normal. Sure. I guess you can't really see the names. Yeah, so this is Dia. I like Dia. Dia is very flexible, very powerful, but very simple at the same time. And you see copyright. It is quite dated, but it does everything you need. Like, I'm sure there are newer solutions, and probably these days you will do that on some website, but I kinda like using standalone desktop tools, because you can do them without internet connection. You can use them, and it is quite powerful. Like, if you want to select, like, there's a wide range of diagrams that are supported, so yeah, something like this. I have no idea what it means, where it could be used, but yeah. You have a variety of choice of components. This. Yeah. This is a cool thing. Okay, I don't understand how to use some of these components. Most of them, I mean. UML. UML is a very useful thing, since UML is pretty much language designed for designing anything to do with software. So yeah, so classes, templates, I guess, just comments, packages, other types of packages, interface definitions. Like you can do a bunch of stuff. So yeah, you can create workflows with this type of stuff and be a good transition. You can do that. Then it goes here. From here, since it splits, for example. So this is how you can define workflows: state, activity. So yeah, you can define an if statement, actually connected. Well, usually you don't want this to be just randomly laying around. But yeah, UML is a very powerful thing for designing software. So Dia has all you need for that. Hey, hello! Finally showed up. I was about to finish because no one is here. I was just showing the capabilities of, well, I was just killing time. Did not get the notification. That's odd. I actually sent it out as always. So I'm not sure what happened there. So I guess since you're here, I guess we can do this. What do you think? Should we go? Go ahead. It doesn't really matter if you got the notification or not. All the important thing is you're here, and we can actually go ahead. Okay. So I guess to begin with, we should define. Well, we need some data. 40 minutes late, yeah. Well, well, you're not actually late because I haven't started. All I did was kill time. And, well, until someone showed up. Right. So we need some data to begin with. Do you have a domain of interest that we can use? Like a subject which we could use to get some data. That water noise was super clear. Well, this is a clear water. I guess the microphone is pointing the right way to capture that. Spotify database is interesting. Okay, can do that. How it keeps data of what music users like. Well, that's easy, I think. Well, we can definitely work with that. Seems very reasonable. What? Did I delete everything? 7:45. Oh. And use it to recommend you music to other users. Well, how Spotify does exactly, that's only Spotify knows that. All the details. We can just use as well, one version of how we could implement that. So I guess we can start with, sure, what would be a good way. I guess we can just start with tables. I think this is a good starting point. So yeah, we don't use bookmarks. This will be explained later. So let's see, user. What kind of data user has on Spotify? Let's see. So user, I guess maybe you should start a little bit earlier. Favorite artists, favorite songs, yeah, that is something user has. Average hours to listen, this is a statistic, yeah. I guess we need to store that kind of data as well. I guess we can just start and adding things to the table. So we have user ID. ID is just to identify user uniquely, because name, email, well, I guess email could be used as an ID, but it's not that convenient. And password, maybe some users could be using the same email, like it doesn't have to be a unique email. What is this software? This is Dia. I was just showing it before you came. So it's called Dia. It's an open source diagram software. It is very powerful, flexible, even though it is a little bit dated. It's more than 10 years old, but it still gets the job done, and it's not really important for this use case. Like, you can use this. I imagine you can database. So database is very simple. It has a very simple set of things. You can use Figma too. It's online based. Yeah, I hate online based stuff. So I choose, if I have a choice, I don't use online stuff. My rule of thumb. So that's why I'm using Dia. That's my go-to application. You can use anything else, yeah. But it's nice to have a standalone application in case, because you can work with it if you don't have internet connection, which is obvious benefit. Trends on Google, yeah. Well, it's not a benefit in my eyes. It's still online. You still need internet connection to use it. Like, to use Dia, like, it is a standalone application on your desktop. Like, you don't need internet connection for it to run. And like, it does enough things. Like, yeah, it might be a little bit more clunky. Okay, let's take a look at that, whatever that was. Also, I managed to fix the flashbang when I open a new web page, so there should be significantly less flashbangs. Figma. Figma.com. Collaborative design tool. Okay. So I need to create an account, I imagine. Figma Jam. All-in-one design platform. An online web board for teams. Just sign in. I guess I can use Google account. To choose which Google account. What kind of work do you do? Software development. That's the right choice. For teaching. See, or download it if you want to use it offline. I don't want. I just want to check it out. I don't plan on using it. Like, Dia does everything I need and more. This just seems well, it's a mess. What is this? Share the team files and create together. Okay, just post it in the chat. Right by email. Up. Choose a plan for your team. Starter for teams trying Figma. Unlimited files and drafts, 3 design files, 3 Fig Jam files, like whatever that is. 1 project. 30-day version history. Okay. Professional, for professional teams, unlimited files and projects, blah blah blah. $12 a month. And $3 a month per Figma Jam editor. Per Figma editor. Okay, well, I guess not gonna pay for it. Okay, what's next? What would you like to do first? We can help you get started faster. Design, prototype, and hand off to developers all in one tool. Big jam. Brainstorm, diagram, and collaborate with your team. Yes, collaboration would be nice if you could put input. Okay, let's see if that works. Design with Figma. Why not Figma Jam? Well, with Figma Jam you should be able to join me. Okay, so where can I select the title? So I guess this is the document. Where's the set of templates, ready to use boards, libraries, stickers, database. Yeah, this doesn't look like it's meant for this. Brainstorm, diagramming, UML. Can I find best Lotus user? Well, yes, UML would be, well, since UML is meant for designing everything to do, well, it's meant for making diagrams about everything to do with software development. So it has a subset of things for database, so on. So crew member. Yeah, this is talking about objects. Length. Movie. Why is it pointing to length? It should be more pointing to movie ID. So movie ID here represents this entry. Here is correct as well. So yeah, this should be like that as well. Right. Well, okay. I'll use Control to zoom out. So I guess how do I actually create a new table? Well, this is a table. Okay, what does it mean? Edit. So it seems nice. It looks nice. I just don't know how to use it. Well, I need to learn how to use it first. So that's a little bit of a drag. If you're really familiar with it, you can give me guidance. So I see default values, that's nice. So I want primary key. How does it mark? Is it yellow? No, yellow is just an integer. I don't know why it colors different types, like it's not really relevant. Unless this isn't meant for databases, it could be meant for classes. No, your startup uses it, so I suggested it to you. Oh, your startup uses it, okay. Well, you need to use something, so might as well use this. And since it has built-in features for have you joined? Can you join this? Or is the link changed? Open link. The link changed. Yeah, looks like the link is different. It's a little bit slower than I would like since it's on the web. Also, I still haven't restarted my machine, so I still have performance issues. Crew member. So how do I actually create a new element from UML? What is this? Stamp. Okay, don't really stamps. Text. Database. Database planning. Insert template. Okay. Topics. Planning. Yes, I can see the usefulness of this. Design planning. Design planning. And where's databases? I mess up. I do the wrong thing. Hey, Risk is here. Cool. Let's see. So how do I enter an element, which is a table? So this is a folder, file, rounded rectangle, square rectangle. Okay. So where was it? Lost. Big Jam UML this diagram. So how do I get these elements? How do I edit them? So this just makes a note. Okay, I have some editing choices here and here. What does it do? Group selection. So this messed it up somehow. Okay, let's unmessed it. So this is just individual squares with text in it? That sounds painful. This doesn't look right. So do you know how to get these elements like this inserted? Or do I just copy paste stuff like people usually do and just rename everything manually? How do I insert a new row then? Favorites. Where did you get that? It's not a copy. Oh yeah, it is a copy. Okay, my bad. Copy link. Bring front, set back. Export. You know what? I don't see how to actually use it. What is this? Libraries. Table. Okay, this header. Base. Text, integer. Doesn't look. What does this DG mean? Yeah, you can mess all day with the table itself. How do you insert a new? Yeah, plugins, templates. It will open the same thing. Maybe I messed the dark reader is messing with it. Let's turn it off for this website. Yeah, barely anything changed. So I can just add stuff like this. It's not that useful in my opinion. Table. It's useful if you want to mess around. You can't even tell that there's something, you're adding something. Ooh, foreign key. Yeah, I know this, what this means. I have no idea what DG is supposed to mean. Base, foreign key, primary key. Ooh, primary key. Wait. So integer is a primary key. Base null. Don't think this is working the way it's supposed to. I think you make individual elements and group them. Yeah, that sounds way too painful to be useful. Like, you can basically will spend the whole day messing around with components in that way, and then use it as a template to copy paste wherever you need it. Oh, that's disgusting. Okay, let's close this. So let's use dia, which is simple and to the point, doesn't have all the fancy cloud features and collaborations, but it does the job. So users, let's add a new row. Let's see. So the user, simple and elegant. Well, elegant is not the word I would use to describe this. Dia, at least. It's simple. It's definitely simple. Simple and to the point. It gets the job done, which is the thing that matters. So let's see. What were the things that user has? User has more things in Spotify. What, let's say, favorite? I guess, well, well, it probably would be a better idea to just have the data listed somewhere at first. See, can I do the spreadsheet? Gender. Does Spotify actually care about your gender? I guess you can, like in general, but let's talk about Spotify specifically. So, because it will lead into another thing, because we need some data first, then we can start designing tables and so on. So let's say we have a name, risk, every. Make this bold and maybe a little larger. Right. So we have name, then we have username, probably a risk, time. Then what do we have? Email, risk, gmail.com, and every gmail.com. What else do we have? Email password. Yeah, I guess users have passwords. Storing them. It's nothing better than storing passwords as plain text in the database. Sure, that won't lead to any issues. Password. Well, I guess the best practice is to save, not to save the password itself. You save password hash, and then for added security, you save password salt. Password salt. So there's a technique for storing passwords, which is called salting. Oh. Well, you know what hashing is, where you hash a string and you get a hash. Well, you can hash you can hash a lot of things, but yeah. So this is random. Okay, let's have salt. This will be the different salt. Will not make it look like it's the same. Okay. And the hash, what does the hash look like? Somehow I think it starts with, usually starts with equal for some reason. Delete. Oh, it thinks this is a formula. This. Is LibreOffice better than Excel? I never used it, but it was pre-installed on my Linux. Better, I guess it depends on your definition of better. It does the same thing, so you know. It's a spreadsheet program. Excel is better because it's more widely used. So if you make an Excel document and you send it to someone else, especially someone you don't know, chances are that they will know how to open and read Excel document. And if you send them LibreOffice document, spreadsheet, or even LibreOffice Word document. No, it's not a Word document, it's an open document format or something. Yeah, they might not know how to open it, so that's the benefit of Microsoft Office applications. Okay, we have password salt, which is basically password hash is basically a hash of your password plus a salt string. So you don't actually, in this way, you don't actually store the actual password. So when the user enters a password, you get that user's password salt from the database. You combine it with the actual password, calculate its hash, and then you compare it with the actual password. And that's how you verify that the user entered the correct password without actually storing the passwords themselves. And if your database gets breached and this data gets stolen, you still don't know, you have no way of recovering what password is stored here, what is the right password. Because it is very tempting to just have a column with passwords and just have see, my password is 123456 and another one is just like, yeah, these look like legit passwords someone would use, and this doesn't look like it. Even though these passwords might be wildly insecure, you have no way of knowing just by looking at this hash and salt. So this is just a technique to save passwords in a little bit more secure way than just plain text in a database. Right. So let's not have this. Instead we have password hash and password salt. Yeah, I learned about this in computer hacking course where if a company was hacked, the hacker needed encryption that the company was using to get the passwords. Yeah. So you need to know how this salt is actually combined with the password, because if you don't have a salt, if you have just have a bunch of hashes, you start, well, calculating a hash is not all that expensive. So you take a dictionary of most commonly used passwords and just calculate a bunch, like all of their hashes, and see if any of these match. So, but when they are salted, they don't, well, none of them will match. And yeah, so because they have additional stuff that come, well, so yeah, well, I guess if you know that, all of that stuff, you know. So what else do we have? We have let's see, you said favorite songs, favorite artist, so that's something. Gee, like Chris Tram, I think. I don't remember the actual name. So what's your favorite artist? What else do we have? Time listened. Time listened. Is it total? I spent like, not sure. Well, I imagine it would be in minutes. You'd name it. That's a difficult question. What's your favorite artist? Well, I imagine in it's not a question of what is your actually the one favorite artist, because on Spotify I imagine you can have a selection of favorite artists. Justin Bieber, okay. Justin Bieber. He definitely is an artist. But you can have multiple happen to Justin. Time listen. So I imagine you listen for quite a long time. Say 5,135 hours, well, minutes. Or should it be seconds? And that's a good question. Time listened. What do you want it to be? That makes most sense. Shorter name. Time listened in minutes. Yeah, I listened to it quite a bit as well. Something like this. What else did you say? Take a look. Available country. Yeah, I guess country is a good suggestion. Okay. So, yeah. Lithuania. Right. So favorite song probably also is a thing. Song. Crave. Actually, another artist I like is Gorillas. Ooh, bots are back. Now bots are back. That's it. For yourself. Get banned. Block on YouTube. Lock on here, okay. So what's your favorite song? You can enter some of the songs. So what else Spotify knows about you? What kind of data they store? What do you think? Well, what do they have? It doesn't have to be about you in general. Nights. This is oh, Feel Good. I think it's a good song. Right. So we have some data. So this is probably related to the user. So what else do they have? They have it's bold. Well, they have songs. Ooh, what is this? Can be a time saver, I guess. Let's check it out. Copy URL. Excel database template. Okay. Sample sale database. Sample customer database. Yeah, but this is all done. Yeah, this doesn't really work. Funny name. Second. What do you mean document? Oh, second page of the document, yeah. You mean here? It's just a different sheet. Whoops. It is struggling. So yeah, well, this is not a good example. It doesn't really yeah, it doesn't work for our case. But the idea is that we need data from some domain that we have understanding of, some reasonable understanding. Because I don't want to jump in just into designing database without, well, skipping the step of normalization. So normalization would be, well, taking a look. This is, let's say, all the data about the user we want to store. Let's say. So we can start with normalization. Normalization is a process of taking your data and putting it into a structure that would be, well, into a database structure, like forming it in a way where it would be useful for a database. There is a, if I had it open, did I actually close it? I might have just closed it. Data sets. No, this was just an example. Well, query. So this is the query language. So I just closed it. Let's just go back to Google. Database normalization sheet. So this will be like a quick view what it takes to normalize data. can I find? A lot of text. This is an example. I don't really want an example. I want the quick and dirty overview of what normalization consists of. Netherlands. Okay. Help me. I found a decent page. I think the one. First, second, third, fourth, and fifth. So there are 5 stages to normalization. And there are just, well, it's not a very, well, it is described like this is a technical way, a theoretical way to look at designing databases, but it's something you do naturally. But if you haven't done it before, I guess it's a good thing to know about or go through at least once. So, and there are just basic rules. So for what's normalization? Well, it is a process of designing, like grouping data into tables. I guess that would be. So when you have a list of data like we have here, like we could make this into a database table as is, but it wouldn't be a very useful table. Like we could use it, but usually, well, we'll go through the steps and well, it doesn't have all that many things that are wrong with it. But the key thing is you don't really want to have lists in fields. Like you don't want to have favorite artists. Some people will have one, some people will have none, some people will have multiple. You don't want to have that in the database, because then you want to have all the fields of a predictable length. Like it's not, because when you get a data entry, then you need to parse it out and so on. Like it's a messy way of designing. So that's why you need well, there was a process developed by someone, well, theoretical process called normalization, where you group the data. Well, you just follow certain rules, like all attributes are single valued, atomic. So it either has a value or it doesn't have a value. It can't have multiple values in one entry. So to fix that, what we would do, let's take this, move it down. We would make a copy, and let's see. I guess your entry is actually atomic. You don't really have any records. But I actually have a couple of records that are duplicates. So yeah, Tristram, and Tristram's song is Brave. Then this is for gorillas. So you see the issue when you start applying these rules. Like you end up with, and there could be another combination. Feel Good Inc. Like it becomes very repetitive. Like there's but this is like what the normalization looks like. This is how you start with it. Well, this is what you start with. What am I missing? Grave with gorillas. So these are all possible combinations. So yeah, this doesn't start to make less sense before it starts to make more sense. So don't worry. All columns have unique names. Kinda have that. Order in which data is stored doesn't matter. Yeah, well, yeah, this is not an issue in this case. Table is supposed to be in the second normal form if, okay, it matches the first, it does not have any partial dependency. What do they mean by that? Remember? Store name depends on the store ID. Oh yeah, so this is a better example because it mixes two tables together. So it doesn't really apply to us because we have pretty much one table with key data. So we kind of have the second normalization form without doing anything. Transitive dependencies. Yeah, this is not an issue as well. Yeah, this gets into the formulas and so on. So basically the idea of normalization is to so the basic goal of all of this is to not have any data duplication. So if you have this repeating rows, that means your database is not designed correctly and you need to apply normalization rules and go through those steps, and it has no multi-value dependencies and so on. Okay, so how to actually design this, what it should result in is a table where, so for example, if you have everything else is the same, but one thing is different. Let's say you have one field that always changes, so that indicates that this should be saved in a different table. So I guess you can see if you're storing multiple values in one field, then you have to extract it into a different table. So I guess we can go here now and see. Let's make this keep above others so it would be always visible, and let's make this into sensible tables. So we have name, username, which type would be, say, string. I think I need anything else. Yes, we could add unique constraints for the username, so username would be unique. Oh, what else? Email is already here. Password hash. And let's have password hash. Password hash. Add another row, password salt. Password salt. Also will be string, 32 characters long. Right. What else? So favorite artist should be in a separate table. So well, since we don't really have all the data, we should have a table called artists. So Spotify would definitely have that. And as a general rule, you add an ID field, just so you would have an identifier, which is primary key and unique. Then you have, well, name of the artist. What else do you need to store about the artist? Yeah, this could be int. Oh, this will be integer, usually. String. I guess the name doesn't have to be unique. It helps if it is unique. I guess it doesn't even. Number of Grammys. Number of songs released. Like, this kind of data is not really, it doesn't sound like a good data to be stored in associated with an artist. Rank of the artist in the world. Rank is something you don't... Well, I guess you could store it in a database. But I think all of those things should be stored in a different table. You don't need that. Well, if you went through the process of normalization like it... I guess if you'd want to store a number, but you don't really want to just store the number. You want to have instances of which Grammy it won. Like you want to know... You don't just want to know the number of Grammys. If you have Grammys, you probably want to be able to view which Grammys he won, in what order, in which year, and so on. So it would make more sense to have another table with awards. And we can change properties style, so it would white. So awards, ID, integer, primary, unique, age of the artist. Yeah, age, I guess it could be stored here. Well, probably not the age. Date of birth probably would make more sense, because you don't want to be going back each day and checking which artist's birthday it is and what value you need to update. So the date of birth, and type will be date time, and yeah, I guess it could be unknown, so let's make it nullable. So it's an optional piece of data. Let's change them places. Down. Work. I guess it didn't work for some reason. Well, okay, it doesn't really matter. So we have date of birth, which is date time. The software does have a lot of features. Well, software used to be like that. And yeah, open source software is usually not so concerned about usability and user interface being nice. It's mostly about the features. And if you want to design if you want to have a tool that is useful for designing databases, like you kind of need to have something like this, which is, well, okay, let's go up and add another row. I guess, what else doesn't make sense? It switched places at least. Let's remove this. Okay, now it worked. So awards, let's work on this now. So we have awards, we have a type probably. Type of award, which could be a string. Sure. Usually if you have a type, you want it to be, well, if that also has to be a different database, well, a different table, because it just makes sense. Otherwise you will be repeating the same thing in that table over and over again, instead of just having an ID. Well, okay. So this is about utility. So you don't really want to have, like, if you find yourself adding a type field to a table, it's a bad idea usually. Usually it indicates that you need to have a classifier table. So you have a table with, let's see, properties, green, award types. types. Then you have an ID. It's primary, unique. Then you have name, or actually type. And the type is string. Say 20 characters long. And I guess it doesn't have to be unique. So what this gives, and let's add a relation. So okay, let's not add relation just yet. Let's remove this for now. So instead of having type, you would have type ID. So this would be an integer value that is pointing, and it's not nullable, it's not unique, but it is a foreign key. I don't see can show anything. Doesn't show anything. Okay. So you want this type ID would be pointing to this ID, this table. So is this actually right? I think this is right. One entry in this table would be pointing to one entry. No, this is the wrong way around. See, n and 1. Meaning that one record on this table will be associated with many records on this table. So what's the benefit, you might ask? Well, like, what's the point of doing all of this? Like, what's the point splitting this into two tables instead of typing out, like, instead of having a name like this is say a Grammy or Golden Globe, or I don't even know, like this doesn't sound like music awards. What are the music awards? Like there are golden disc or something like that. Well, it doesn't matter. So the point is that imagine those awards are getting issued quite often to artists, and each time you get a new record in your database, you would have to store, if you were to store a name, that would be an integer. Well, it would be a string of 20 characters. So each award would add a little bit, like, it's all about efficiency at this point. Like, that's why you want to have it separate, because in this case, you only declare that Grammy is a type of an award you could get, and each time someone gets a Grammy, you just point to an integer. They are called Grammy. Okay, well, but there are multiple types of awards. That's what I mean. Like, it's not just a Grammy you can win. You can win other types of awards as well. Also, you can, well, since this is a Spotify's database, they can make their own awards, like internal ones. They have a type of most listened in a month, like has been at the top of the charts for a day, a month, a week, a year. So you can make those type of awards, and when someone gets it, instead of having to save the whole string, you just save an integer. So this is what you're saving. And also, if you want to change the type, Grammy Awards, American Music Awards, the Brits, Billboard Music Awards. So yeah, well, that's a good example. 4 major awards. Okay. So these are, well, since it is in, do I need to have arrows? Yes, I can. These arrows are not really necessary. Keep it like this. But right. So that's what you're saving. Also, when, for example, when you want to change a name of an award, this is probably type should be name. Name. Say it like that. They do wrong. Name, enter, apply. Okay, now it's saved. So when you want to change the name of the award, you don't have to go and find all the records that all the artists that have gotten that award and then changing it for each entry. You just go to the classifier table. It's called classifier table because it just defines a bunch of types, and that's all it's used for. It only stores a couple of values that are referenced many times in other tables. So for example, an artist can have another field. Oh, that's not added here. It's added at the end, which would be biggest award. And that could be an integer. Yeah, I guess that could work. And it is nullable, so it is optional. And this could be showing, could be linked. Well, you could design it this way. It doesn't have to be this way. But it's nicer if I do this. Here. 0 to 1. I guess it could be optional. I'm not sure how you describe if it's optional. Oh, it's 1 to 1. Let's see. To this arrow. Right. So you can have an artist can have many awards, but you can have a separate field, like his biggest, most famous award that he received, and have it linked here, straight like that. What does that start this and end this means? What do you mean? This? Oh, this is just what is shown at the very end. Like, I didn't really explain this. When you draw connections between tables, usually at the very end, you either have, well, it shows what type of relationship exists between these two tables. So, okay, if I zoom in, you see this is n, and this is 1. I guess I don't really need this anymore. And that indicates that there can be many records in this table associated to a single record on this table. So this is what it indicates. It doesn't really mean all that much. I just want to be as accurate as possible. So meaning that, I guess actually this is n on this case as well, because many, and here it is 0 or 1, something like that. I guess it doesn't really make sense to have 0 or 1, just have 1. If it exists, it will be here. It will be the same as this one. Right. So that just means that one record in this database can be referenced many times in other tables. Gotcha. So yeah, it's just semantics of database design. Since I went through all of that in university, I just remember that kind of stuff. It just looks nicer to me. It looks more natural, but it's not really essential. Right. It's probably not the best way to do this still. You probably want to be pointing to one of the awards instead. Like for example, so how do you actually connect these two tables now? Because, okay, you have an artist, and artists can achieve awards, but it doesn't really make sense because I guess you could do it. I guess the same artist, can the same artist receive, well, can the same award be awarded to several artists? Is that a possibility? Because that changes how you connect these databases. Well, not database, these tables. Because you can't really have many to many. So this is many to one, one to many, like, well, this is the relationship. So if it definitely can be awarded, so multiple people can get the same award. That's what you're saying. So for that to work, that would mean that you need to have each artist or each award would be assigned to multiple artists, which is not really what you want, because then you would have duplicate entries in the, well, you would end up with something like this, where the rest of the data is the same, but one field is different. So to work around that, to fix that, you usually use a connecting table. So okay, let's, oh right, selected something wrong. Oh, I just didn't see it. Okay, my bad. My C is not really handling this all that well. Right. Do you see these artifacts? I think it's only visible on my screen. Oh, actually, you can see this. Yeah. This is bizarre when this happens. Right. Oh, right. I can't manually adjust it. Forget about that. Okay, it doesn't really matter. So you use a connecting table called artist awards, and it only has 3 fields. It has an ID, it has artist ID, and then you have award ID. Because you would, well, because one artist can get multiple awards, and multiple awards, and one award can be assigned to multiple artists, like you would get a many to many. Like you would have to have a list of awards to each artist, and then a list of artists at each award. So yeah, that's why you need an intermediary table, which just maps all of that. It only holds the necessary data to make this match happen. So this is primary, and these are not nullable. Primary, unique. And how this looks like is board ID goes here. Don't really like this arrow. Sure, there's a way to change it. And this goes to the artist ID. Right. So what it means, each artist will have a bunch of, well, so you create an artist instance. When you enter an artist into a database, you have one entry with its name, date of birth, and this probably, if it's a fresh new artist, maybe you don't know his biggest award, so you leave it as empty because it is optional. You might even leave the date of birth empty if you don't know when the artist is born, so you might just provide just the name. And eventually when, well, then you create award types, so you populate with what kind of award people can get, And then eventually when an artist or a bunch of artists, like a group, gets awarded a prize, an award, what you do, you create an instance of the award that happened. So let's say they got a Grammy. Let's say, well, this kind of needs to have more data. So let's say awarded time. So this would be a timestamp. Date time, probably date time. When the award has actually been given. So probably you can have well, you can have another classifier showing who awarded, made the award. So you have a bunch of a list of a table with companies, and then just have a company ID assigned with it as an issuing body. So a company that has given out the award, so on. So you well, when you get into specifics of a certain field, like it's, you know, there's plenty of data you need to parse and plenty of data to work with. But this, well, for an example, this will be fine. So when you have an instance of an award, let's say someone got an award of a Grammy at a certain date, then why doesn't it show? I didn't enter the time. Okay, so this will be a date when the award actually was issued. So you create an entry there, and then you create an entry in the awards, artist awards, for each artist that got that award. So you will have multiple entries. Well, if a group get assigned an award, then yeah, you have multiple entries for each artist that got awarded this award, and so on. In the most simple case, when one artist gets one award, then nothing changes. Like this table will have just one entry mapping that this artist was given this award. So this is how you end up with a structure like this. And a way, like a formal way to actually come up with this, because I just do it by memory, because I'm used to this. Like it just looks natural to me, just because I've been working with databases so quite a bit. Like you can't really get away from them. But if you have no idea how to come up with a good structure, normalization is the official way how to achieve that. So normalization, what it does, you start with data, and then you follow these rules, and then you go through the like 5 steps. I guess you can stop at like 3 or 4, depending on how I'm not sure, pedantic? Is that a good way to describe it? How anal you are about this, I guess. So for the most use cases, I imagine like third form should be enough. So it doesn't have transitive dependencies, so meaning movie info is a second normal form. What is the transitive dependency? Then don't explain that. That's therefore it's not in the third. It can be decomposed into movie rating and genre info, shown below. So let's look. Movie info, customer data, store data. Oh, it doesn't use this all data. Okay, so movie info has genre, well, ID, genre ID, genre, and rating. Genre info, are they talking about? Where is the starting data? Because I already did show it done. Well, I guess this is not a very good website to showcase normalization. So maybe find something else. Well, actually, I could look for that right now. Seems look like has all the right stuff in it. Problem without normalization. So yeah, this seems like a good website to familiarize yourself with normalization. So basically this is how you would have a set of data and then decide how many tables and how the tables should be connected. Like so this is like the formal way of designing databases, but when you go through it once and you understand what's the goal of it, like it will look very natural. Like you won't actually need to do this. You can just design like simple databases like this just naturally, because it just makes sense at that point. Right. So we have an artist at this point, and yeah. Okay, so we have have everything we want about the artist. So now the user. How do we connect user to the artist? So we can have status. I'm not sure that's actually needed. Have an empty row. Let's remove this. Apply. Songs. Yeah, I guess we need a table for songs. Let's see. Favorite artist. Yeah, but favorite artist doesn't mean like you can have multiple ones. So again, you will have to have an intermediate table like this, like called users favorite artists, and that will match user ID with all the artists that are in his favorites list, in favorite artists list. So I guess we can do that. Style, set green. I guess we can color it a little bit differently to indicate that these are not. I guess it doesn't really make sense. Actually, on the second thought. That was all. We have an ID. Everything ties through the IDs. So that's why you basically always have a unique ID that gets assigned. Which color it did. The type is usually integer. Then you have user ID. ID is also an integer. And then you have artist ID. Artist ID is an integer. Then let's see. None of them are optional, all of them are here and present. Okay, this is it. So we do the same. User ID points to the user table ID. Actually, I think it's backwards. So one user can be linked to multiple name. User favorite artists. Yeah, so one user can have multiple, and one artist can be referenced multiple times. This is backwards, because I have it like this here. Yeah, let's change that. Well, I don't remember which way is the correct way, but that's what it indicates. Oh, I don't think it matters all that much. Have n and 1. Right. So this is how you would actually connect. So that's how you would have favorite artist. Then you would do the same for songs. So you have songs, table. So I see it's not as complicated as it looks when you get familiarized with basic concepts of how to make what makes a good table. So let's say ID, which is integer, it's primary, unique. You have song has the name, which is string. Well, let's have it string of length. What's the longest name of the song? 40 maybe? Seems sensible. Then well, I guess multiple artists can be performing at this. Well, one song can be associated with multiple artists. So you would do the same thing. You would have a transitional intermediary table linking artists to the songs. In this case, let's say it's not the case. Let's say we don't have multiple artists performing one song. So let's say the song should be assigned to a single artist. Whose utility is 18 characters long? Oh, then 40 will be plenty. I'm sure there are song names that are longer, but this is just an example, so you know. If you would be designing a database for Spotify or some other streaming service, you would ask them what is appropriate size. See, we have an artist. Okay. So I should name it artist ID. Usually you want it to be called ID when it references to an ID in another table. So, right, one song will have one artist. This. Okay. Songs. And now user can have favorite songs as well. I guess song could have, well, I guess you can add more info about the song. Length. Probably will be an integer in seconds. Then probably a genre as well. But as with award types, you want to have it probably in a separate table as well, because it would be like it will be repeating sort of data over many records in the table. So you would rather have just save a small integer instead of saving a whole string. So let's see, genre ID. Also, it could be. Also, one song could have multiple genres associated with it, but let's not do that again, because that's so you can see how the whole database becomes quite complex, even for quite a simple thing. So let's see, have a table for genres. See, add ID. Integer, which is primary, unique, apply, yes, style, let's change color, name, string, starting to take structure. Possibilities are infinite, yeah, well, you know, that's what databases are for. Like, it is definitely becoming a useful database. Well, it's not a database, it's just a drawing of database representation. So this is part of the database design process. So with genre, points to genre, a genre table. Right. Guess it should be backwards. Yeah, one genre can be referenced many times. Don't even remember which way around it should be. I guess the best way would be not to just don't care about these, not have them at all. Because now I don't remember which way around I have, which side should have n, which side should have 1. So I would rather just not show them at all. Just for my my own sake. Because it is annoying. I know that it should have to have these indications, but I don't remember what's the technically correct way to do that. So I guess if you had a database and there's a way to view the database structure. So this is, so for example, if you were to take an actual database that's already designed, there are ways to extract its structure to view it in in this way, where it would list all the tables and then make all the links for you, which are currently present in the database. So that's how you can like visualize what data is associated with which tables are associated with what other tables, and that would have those annotations at the end of the what's the name of it, relationship. It would be accurate. It would show that one record can have multiple references in this table and so on. Right. So we have songs that have a genre. Then we have, I guess we're missing another table, which is user favorite songs. And it's pretty much the same deal as with artists. So we have user ID is an integer. Both should be integers. And then you have song ID. An integer. And then I guess I should have switched them around, yeah. Because it will connect more nicely this way. Actually, I think it worked the first time. Okay. User ID. Oh, that is fancy. Don't like it though. Try again. Why is it doing this? Why it suddenly decided to be annoying? I guess it just doesn't like the position of this. What? So this is fine, and the other way around it isn't. Yeah, whatever. I won't pretend to understand what's happening. I'm just here to press buttons. Just song, then goes to song ID. Getting trolled by 10-year-old software. So yeah. Oh yeah, the question I was asking, if my artist ID get moved down, will the connection to it will down as well? That would be really cool if it did. I imagine it probably won't. It actually didn't do anything. didn't change the connections because that needs to be done manually. Let's do that for, yeah, artist ID in general. It's okay. So now we don't have crossing links. So yeah, so this would be like a small example of a database that can store artists and can store songs. It can store artists' awards and users. That's like, it's not a lot, but this is what the database structure would end up looking like if you gone through normalization and actually like designed a database using that formal way. I imagine you could come up with some optimization maybe somewhere, but it's good enough for what I think it would be good enough. And well, the next step, when you have a database laid out, you have an understanding of what you want, then you need a database engine to actually implement all of this. So let's move to the next part. Yeah, so next part would be to actually get yourself a database to work with. And that would be, well, in my example, there is a SQLite 3. What we're choosing, I think like the very MongoDB. Well, isn't MongoDB NoSQL? Meaning like this. So keep in mind, this whole thing is just for relational databases. Like, it doesn't work with NoSQL databases. I don't think MongoDB, let's see. I think MongoDB is not, or actually MongoDB is a SQL database, relational database. So this is just about relational databases. NoSQL databases are something different. Yeah, Postgres. Yeah, MongoDB is NoSQL database. So you design it completely differently. It works in a different way. So this sort of thing, it means nothing for MongoDB. It has their own process, which I don't know, because I never worked with MongoDB. I never had to design it. I imagine it could be quite similar. What happened to my... Did Dia just crash on me? I guess that's what I get for using more than 10-year-old software. Yeah, actually it did crash. Oh well. Well, I guess I lost all of that. I guess I'll just make a screenshot from the recording and have that. Let's see. If I launch it again, will it actually work? Yeah. Okay, doesn't remember anything. It doesn't even remember the settings I changed. Okay, well, I won't bother changing everything again. It's gone. Basically. Well, good thing we were finished with that part. Right. Oh, this is running as well. Yeah, SQLite. SQLite is built in. Well, support for SQLite is built into Python. That's why I would like to use that. Yeah, really, it's gone. The best thing I could do is just have a screenshot from the recording. But I guess it doesn't really matter. That's I guess that could be the downside of Dia. So keep that, be mindful of that if you ever choose to use that. It is quite old, so you know. I guess that's the price I pay for using like standalone software. It is less stable than the online cloud-based solutions. I doubt it has autosave. Yeah, offline software has its own disadvantage. Yeah, that is true. Like anything in life, it has its own pros and cons. What's happening here? Ivan just messaged a dot. Amazing. Okay. Right. I kind of feel tired. I'm not sure if you want to keep going with SQLite 3 today, because it is. Well, we would be getting into the meat and potatoes of database manipulation, meaning looking at stuff like this or this. Yeah, this is the actual thing you can do with databases. Yeah, let's continue tomorrow. Yeah, I think so as well, because I am getting tired. Hopefully you won't be. I think. Well, I'll know tomorrow morning if I sleep right. Then yeah, it will be fine, and I will continue next evening. But tomorrow morning I will be continue working on my configuration bot. So yeah, working on this, continuing kill bot. I'm so happy with the progress I made here. Like I'm really happy. Also my JavaScript exam tomorrow. Well, you've been learning about JavaScript quite a bit, so I'm sure you're gonna be fine. Yeah. But yeah, this is what we'll be studying tomorrow. So what you can actually do with actual database. Hope it goes well. Yeah, I can only wish you good luck. Not sure if you need luck. I always, well, someone is wishing me good luck. I always tend to say that I don't really need luck because I actually know the stuff. So luck is not really the factor. It covers the basics, so it's quite easy for me. Yeah, so yeah, I guess then, well, I guess it makes sense in you're a freshman, right? You know more than that. Yeah, that's good. That's always good. Be safe. But yeah, this is basically what you can do. It's nothing special. This isn't all that much. That's why I like SQLite as well. Well, I don't really use that all that much. For my database, I actually use. I wonder if I can actually view the tables. Is there a way to use? I don't think it has a nice view for all the tables. Ooh, you can actually see how much rows. So events table has 430,000 entries. Users have configured 71,000 bots. Imagine 71,000 bots have been created. Oh no, 71,000? No, this is the table for mapping. Like I said, if you look at the columns, it only has ID, user ID, and configuration ID. Oh, and the timestamp. So that's another thing I can. Oh, it's just generic data. So this is just user configurations is a table matching one user to the configurations. So one user can have multiple configurations, and one bot can be owned by multiple users. So that's how I implement like what I just said in the example. Your bot is dope then, yeah. I imagine so. If I have like 66,000 entries, configurations of the bot, and it actually turns out 10,000 people are sharing the bot. I guess that's what it means. So it's assigned to multiple users. Oh, actually, if user has, how does it work? No, if user has many bots, you just have many entries in configurations and many entries in user configurations. Yeah. So it means people are sharing the bot. So someone creates a bot and gives it control of it to someone else. That's cool, I guess. With 11 gigabytes of events. Yeah, events is a massive table. That's a huge. Like this is all the things about the kills happen, and all of so it is kind of funny. I parse out a little bit about the event, and the whole event is stored here, and that this column data just stores a huge JSON. Actually show it somewhere. See, I guess I can just paste it anywhere randomly. So yeah, if you take a look now, this is how much data is stored in that one column. Yeah, that's a bunch of data. So that's why that table is so large. Because this one column just saves everything. And this is just the data I use to filter the entries. Well, yeah. So, what was my point? My point was that SQLite is nice in certain cases. It's meant for like smaller scale use. Like if you have a standalone application and you feel like storing everything into a file is not that well. Your application has more data than you can reasonably store in a file, but doesn't have enough to actually warrant a full-blown database that's like a massive database that's used like by proper companies and proper solutions. Like MariaDB is one of them. So when you're talking about or was it having hundreds of thousands of records, then or even thousands of records. If you have thousands of records, you probably want a normal database. Oh, one more thing happened today. I broke my glasses. I accidentally broke it and tried to fix it using heat gun. Accidentally melted the plastic. Now the warranty is void too. Yeah, that sucks. Yeah, breaking glasses suck. Well, I can relate to that. I actually have plastic glasses. Well, at the moment I'm wearing the metal, like the frame is metal. Well, it has a bit of plastic for the handles, I guess. Yeah, it's mostly metal, but I have plastic glasses as well for that I use for driving. Yeah, just having yeah, it's just something you have to live with. It's been a while since I broke my glasses. But yeah, I don't want to jinx it. I really like my current glasses, so would hate to have to buy new ones. Right. New glasses, yeah. I guess that's one way to get new glasses. Just break, like, you don't really have a choice, you have to get new ones. It is a perfect excuse, I guess, if you're looking to upgrade or update. Yeah, okay, so SQLite it doesn't support a couple of features, like it's not meant to be used by multiple users at once, like MariaDB. For example, this database that I'm using, like there are like 3 applications accessing this data. Like one application is entering the data into the database all the time. Other applications are constantly checking for updates and manipulating that data. I guess configuration bot would be the 4th one that's also accessing. So there's a lot of things to be managed by a database, and that's why I use a established, well-known database engine for this. But in SQLite 3 that can't really do that. You can't have a database that is shared between different applications. It's pretty much meant to be used by a single-threaded application where you access and do one thing at a time. Like, it doesn't have any multi-threading, it doesn't have multiple users. It is quite simple in that regard, but it has everything you need. Like, it's good enough for showcasing SQL basics or database basics, even though it doesn't have all the advanced features. Just be aware of it if you ever decide to use a database. It is very convenient because it's built in. You don't really have to install anything. It is from the standard it is part of the standard library. So you don't need anything to be installed. For MariaDB, for example, for any other database solutions, you need to download the software, install it somewhere, set up the users, set up the ports, so make sure that it's running smoothly, and then you can start using it. There's like quite a lot of overhead in that. And with SQLite 3, it's just you import it and you can start executing queries, creating tables, and pushing data into that database. So in that regard, it's really nice. So if you don't want to be bogged down, or you're not really interested in how to manage a database, you just want to learn the basics of tables, relations, and so on, then yeah, SQLite is pretty good in my opinion. Also, it's good for certain applications where you just have some local data you want to store and sort or do some other things you can with databases. Alright, I think I'm done for today. I feel quite tired. I still have to register for Fiverr. I still haven't done that. Damn, today was a crazy day. There was no rest. This day seemed like it will never end. But I guess it's over now, so... And tomorrow, yeah, more streaming, more coding. Hopefully I will be on Fiverr by tomorrow. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. If the registration process is is not too complicated for me. Yeah, okay. Bye. Good luck tomorrow in your test. When is your test? Is it in the morning? Oh, I'm feeling sleepy as well. Well, in any case, yeah, this was a long day. Okay, see ya tomorrow, hopefully.